I paid $900 for the Legion Go S on Affirm. I'm still paying for it every month, and today I am deleting the one thing I paid extra for, Windows 11. Trying to install Bazite and partition the hard drive so I can dual boot into Windows was a massive mistake. I bought the Legion Go S Z1 Extreme model because I wanted to finally give a Windows handheld another shot, but as time went on, my device ended up covered in dust. When I was making my initial decision to get a Steam Deck, I couldn't wait and ran out and bought an Asus ROG Ally because I have no patience, and I quickly regretted that decision as I learned the hard way. Windows is not optimized for gaming handheld devices. Subscribing to my channel, however, is extremely optimized and cool. You want to be cool, don't you? Haha, yeah, thanks. This was before the ROG Xbox device was even announced, so before you all comment, man, the Xbox experience at blah blah blah, dude, I don't care. It's like painting shit gold. It's still running on Windows. When the Legion Go S was announced, I was kind of over my Steam Deck. I hadn't upgraded my storage yet, so it was mostly being used as an emulation device. I decided to get the Z1 Extreme model, which is still a beast in 2026, as it has 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte of storage, and a beautiful 8-inch throbbing 120Hz display. Sure, I could have bought the purple SteamOS version, which was actually $100 cheaper, but it was not shipping for another few months, and I truly couldn't wait. There are also the Z2 Go models, which are garbage and a total waste of money. Don't buy those. I really wanted to go for broke and get the best bang for my buck here, but when the Legion Go S showed up, I was actually having way more fun than I thought I was going to tinkering around with Windows. Playing games like Destiny 2 was really interesting, as I used to be extremely addicted to that game, so jumping back in was a blast. But when I started using it to play my Steam games, I learned quickly that even in big picture mode, a Windows handheld still sucks. I eventually upgraded my Steam Deck storage, giving it a whole new life, and my Legion Go S ended up sitting on my desk under a pile of bills. I started using it again for videos and finally decided I wanted to put SteamOS on it, as the Legion Go S is just a far superior device compared to my Steam Deck. Its screen is so beautiful in comparison to the LCD Steam Deck I own, and the overall ergonomics of the device just feels better to hold in my hands, reminding me of an Xbox controller. Again, I don't care about those trackpads, so putting Bazite on it and calling it a Steam Deck 2 was a no-brainer. But I did not want to lose the ability to use Windows, the sole reason I put this on Affirm to pay off monthly. I'm actually like 4 payments away from paying it off, so I'm thinking of buying a Switch 2 next. Let me know in the comments if that's another dumb decision I should make. But Bazite would allow me to achieve this by splitting up the storage on my Legion Go S hard drive so that I can boot into Windows 11 or SteamOS whenever I want, meaning I would have the best of both worlds. I initially thought the official port of SteamOS released for Legion Go S would be able to be downloaded and dual booted on my device, but apparently it's not possible to do according to everything I read online. If I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll hear it in the comments, but this is why I went with Bazite, which is basically an open source SteamOS clone that looks and runs just like the operating system, but allowing you the ability to dual boot between Windows. Since I'm an idiot, I of course screwed this up. I spent hours watching through many different tutorials, one of which the guy mumbled through and skipped a massive important part. It left me very unsure of what to do, so I just went with whatever seemed the most correct way. One of the biggest parts of this process is partitioning the hard drive to allocate a certain amount of storage so that Bazite could have more space on the drive than Windows. Essentially, I wanted to shrink Windows 11 down to basically nothing, since I really wasn't planning on using it that much. This became a massive headache as I kept trying to change the numbers and the program I was using wouldn't allow for it. I was already balls deep into the installation and was afraid to reset it back to Windows, worrying it might brick the device. Eventually, I found out that you cannot shrink Windows 11 past a certain size, but it was too late. I put in the wrong numbers and ended up giving Bazite literally no storage space. After I finally got through the setup, Bazite had like 199 gigs of free storage, meaning I royally screwed myself because almost every Steam game I owned was over 50 gigs, so I can only install a couple games at a time. Even though this sucked, I was extremely impressed with how awesome Bazite was on my Legion Go S. I was taken back by how beautiful games looked on it compared to my Steam Deck. The LED lights on the thumbsticks worked right away as well, which I had seen a lot of complaints about, but I had zero problems. As the months have gone on, I found myself just using the Legion Go S with Bazite and never once dual booted back into Windows. I came to the realization that playing Destiny 2 on a handheld was fucking stupid, and after jumping back in for a few rounds in the Crucible on my expensive gaming PC, I was basically done with that game for good. Which led me to the conclusion that Windows 11 on gaming handhelds are a total waste if you're not going to use them like a lower end laptop. It's not optimized for gaming handhelds like this, and SteamOS is simply the superior operating system, as we all know. And clearly, Lenovo agrees here because at CES 2026 this year, they announced the Legion Go 2 will ship with SteamOS right out of the box this June. After using both devices to show off games in my videos, the Legion Go S was clearly the winner. I know a lot of you Steam Deck purists don't want to hear it, but I just really love this thing. Maybe if I owned the OLED model, I would feel differently, but for me, it really just comes down to how easy it is to use SteamOS. So I said goodbye to both Windows 11 and Bazzite and downloaded the official SteamOS port from Valve, turning my Legion Go S into my dedicated gaming handheld device. The install here is the usual setup. Pick a language, connect to a Wi-Fi, and sign in. It was great seeing I actually got it to work properly without having to call Bob from the Wolf Den. However, once I started really installing larger games, my Legion Go S sounded like a jet was taking off. Bobby Boy kept complaining about this problem months ago, but when I got my handheld, I didn't run into this issue because I was using Windows. Apparently, SteamOS just defaults to the device's settings in its BIOS, but you're able to go into the settings on the right in Steam for your performance profile, which is automatically set to custom, and you can change it to performance, and it slows the fans down by a lot. I was getting worried that it would be this damn loud, and I'd have to wipe it again and fully install Bazzite, which has more in-depth options to control fan speed as well as wattages. Well, as expected, my Legion Go S is now my go-to handheld, and I love it. Now having 1 terabyte of storage, I am able to download all of my games and ROMs and be able to play the Resident Evil 2 remake at a beautiful 120 Hz on this gorgeous screen. SteamOS is just too damn good, especially when comparing it to Windows. I'm happy as a pig in shit now that I've fixed my mistakes because my Legion Go S has a new lease on life, justifying that $900 price tag. I gotta just control myself from buying a Switch 2 once my Affirm payments end. Come on, buddy. You don't need it. You need toilet paper more than you need Pokemon ZA. Alright, well, that's gonna do it for this one. I don't know if anybody's ever run into this problem like me, but, you know, it's just typical Jerry fashion stupidity. Anyway, make sure you share this video with a friend, and thank you guys so much for subscribing, getting me over 10,000 subs. I'm gonna make a video soon about that. I really appreciate y'all. Alright, goodbye.